As someone who appreciates how calming a minimalist lifestyle can be, it can be hard living with others who may not share the same views. After my wife and I got married, we moved into our tiny 300 square foot studio apartment. It was great as we had this place to ourselves, but as we considered the idea of raising a family, it quickly became clear that the best choice was to move into our larger family home that I redesigned for my mum a couple of years earlier. Since moving here, I'm sure many of you are thinking that living with both your wife and mother is a recipe for disaster. But even though they get along incredibly well, the main problem is that they're not particularly minimalist. Something that isn't helped by the fact that my even less minimalist younger brother has now moved in with us too. Fish tank and all. As I fully live up to the stereotype of being an architect, I'm someone who's stupidly pedantic about the tiniest of details, especially when it comes to the way that things look. So cluttered spaces can feel irritating and overwhelming to say the least, especially when I'm the only one considering the mammoth task of tidying them. But when living with others, all of us are faced with the challenge of sharing a home with people who may not be inclined to occupy it the same way that we do. So in this video, I thought I'd show you how, as a family, I've managed to find some form of middle ground and win them around to minimalism, even if it's only just a little bit. In a recent podcast, Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, said, "The greatest innovations in mankind are when you can align a good outcome with people's self-interest." And you'll find this to be true with pretty much everything in business and in life. The people we live with all have their own preferences, and unless you can find a way to align your way of thinking with theirs, there's no way to find a solution that works for everybody. So you have to look past what you can see on the surface and get to the bottom of what it is that they really want. And I've discovered that as a designer, people often don't know what they want until you can show them. I got a lot of comments on my kitchen video about how messy our cabinets were, and yes, my mum saw those comments, and no, she doesn't care what you think because it's her kitchen. And although I did try my best to figure out the best technique for brainwashing people into wanting less, for some reason, it didn't seem to work. In my experience, the only way to make minimalism and clutter-free living easy is through establishing what it is that people around us really need, and then setting up organized systems to fulfill those needs, as well as selfishly taking care of our own. The majority of clutter that's accumulated in our homes is typically there because we don't know what we already have, meaning that things get forgotten, duplicated, or lost. This is why organization is so important if you want to live clutter-free. Like many other Brits, we don't have a dedicated pantry in our compact terraced house, so we decided to solve this problem by creating a minimal yet mammoth storage wall in our dining room, which massively expands the amount of space for my mum's kitchen gadgets and noodle stockpiles, as well as our newly acquired baby items for our daughter, that somehow keep appearing out of nowhere. This storage wall maintains my sanity by keeping things tidy, hidden, and out of sight, yet it also facilitates some of the more maximalist tendencies in this family. But to make sure these cupboards don't descend into chaos, we then decided to neatly label the shelves of each cabinet to ensure that every shelf has a category, so every item in our home has its place, and to make sure that everyone knows where things need to go. Unless you do this, it's easy for things to get forgotten at the back of the cupboards, so this little act of using labels can go a long way. There is nothing worse than a disorganized mess of storage with stuff spilling out into the main space, and this is something that can become exponentially worse with the more people you share a space with. There's no way that businesses survive without streamlined systems, but for some reason we don't apply this logic to our own homes. So in order to avoid arguments, I've found that setting up an organized storage system is great, as it just requires a little bit of planning and conversation. Then once you have it set up, it makes everyone's lives a whole lot easier every time you need to find things, saving both your precious time and the torment of turning the house upside down when you need to find that one really obscure but useful item. To create this storage wall, all we did was measure up the width and height of the wall we had and went online to find the right product to fit our needs. For maximum versatility, we decided that we didn't want something bespoke or permanent, just in case we decided to move or we want to change the layout down the line. So we decided to go with 5 tall Besta cabinets from IKEA that we extended with an extra unit on top to provide us with a whopping 20 cabinets that fit perfectly with the height of our ceiling. You may remember that we previously had the same door fronts on 9 shallower Besta cabinets on the other side of the room, so this meant that we could transfer all of these over so that they could be reused and adapted to our new setup, which more than doubles our storage capacity, and in total it ended up costing us just £620 for the entire wall. Also, by having ample full height storage cupboards, it helps to reduce the amount of surfaces for things to accumulate on. And because we chose to have handleless push open doors, it almost blends in to become part of the wall instead of visually dominating the space. Although this may not really count as converting your family or housemates into hardcore minimalists, it does make your space feel a little bit more like it, and in my opinion, it at least gets things headed in the right direction by mitigating the effects of maximalist tendencies by hiding them out of plain sight and behind a row of sleek cabinet doors. For people who enjoy minimalism, it can feel like you've taken the red pill, as it's easy to preach about its clear and obvious benefits. However, not everyone sees it this way. What I've learned is that the best thing you can do to influence people is not try to change them, but practice empathy and try your best to understand things from their point of view to find a common ground. In his best-selling book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie wrote, "No one likes to feel that he or she is being sold something or told to do a thing. We much prefer to feel that we are buying of our own accord or acting on our own ideas. We like to be consulted about our wishes, our wants, our thoughts." So when sharing a space, you have to respect other people's preferences and listen so that you can make suggestions for them to take ownership of. This is something that I've learned to be crucial throughout my career as an architect, and despite how much we may like to berate our housemates or family members for living like animals, the best thing we can learn to do is to be empathetic by asking ourselves what it is that the other person really wants. In doing so, you can establish a way to meet their needs in a way that suits both of you, rather than simply leaving without trying or just ploughing ahead with your own way of thinking, both of which break down the relationship. Admittedly, I'm fortunate that my family is incredibly forbearing and accommodating towards my ideas, as I know that many others probably wouldn't be. But at the end of the day, if the people you live with still don't want to come around to living in a tidier home, you can at least set an example and hope that they are attracted to it. And if all else fails, you can settle for having your own little space that you can escape to, like a desk, wardrobe, bedroom or office, where you can enjoy the benefits of minimalism and meet your desire for calm and self-expression without having to force it on the people around you. Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, minimalism is about making room for the important things in life, and despite how corny it probably sounds, I happen to think that the people around us are the most important things of all. There are some more things that I'd love to say about the benefits of minimalism, but I've realised that not all long format content works that well on YouTube, so in case you're interested in an ad-free extended version of this video, you can find it over on Nebula. Myself and a bunch of other creators that you probably know like Ali Abdaal, Mike Boyd and Thomas Frank built Nebula as a place for content that doesn't perform typically as well with the YouTube algorithm, and today we're excited to be able to offer membership for free when you sign up to CuriosityStream, who are the sponsors of today's video. With membership to CuriosityStream, you can enjoy the ad-free extended content from your favourite creators over on Nebula, and also discover thousands of beautifully produced documentaries on CuriosityStream's expanded library. Since using it, I've particularly enjoyed The History of the Home, which is narrated by the Parks and Rec actor Nick Offerman, as well as David Attenborough's award-winning documentary Light on Earth. With my link in the description, for a limited time you can subscribe to CuriosityStream at a 26% discount, which works out at less than $15 per year, which is incredible value for money. And you get Nebula for free as long as you're subscribed. So if you're interested in supporting this channel, it's a big help by simply clicking on the link and heading over there to check it out. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful and insightful, and if so, drop a like, and leave me a comment down below if you've also been through the struggle of living in a home with messy, non-minimalist barbarians, or even if you've just been experimenting with optimizing the space and storage in your own home. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.